So if you enjoyed that tip, we've got lots more at gottagetblogging.com. You can log on there. Not only do we have how-to videos, but we've also got some podcasts on there. We're even starting to load up some ebooks for you to download, so be sure to take a look.
Quite a lot of content.
Yeah.
So we're with our guest.
How are you guys?
Hi, Tom.
Good to see you. Great to see you.
So Tom, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Tom is Tom Jelneck from On Target Web Solutions, and you are a tech SEO and marketing consultant. You've been featured on radio, television. You've spoken at numerous conferences, and you are the go-to guy for Google. I understand.
You guys are making me blush. Yeah. But thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. So let's just start at the very beginning. What is SEO, and why is it important to bloggers?
Well, obviously, it stands for search engine optimization, right? So anytime you go in front of that Google search box, you're looking for something very specific. You know, whether it's how to tie a bow tie, which did a great job, or planning a vacation, Bess, whatever the case may be, you're always looking for the most relevant, up-to-date results because we don't have a lot of time, right, to keep scouring and digging deeper. So SEO is really, you know, it's getting a website and a social media presence and all of your content aligned properly so that Google loves what you're doing and ultimately shows it up in the search results so that people find it, share it, and talk about it.
It's the new Yellow Pages.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, how many times have you gotten those things on your doorstep now and they don't even get inside? They make it right to the recycle bin.
Right.
Well, you know, and I've always laughed at see these companies that it's AAA towing service, and then it's quadruple A towing because they're trying to get high in the Yellow Pages, and that just doesn't work anymore.
And that used to work in Yahoo too. I mean, I remember back in the day we used to try
Really?
to tell everybody their domain name had to start with an A, you know, so they could
Wait, are
climb
you
to the
serious?
top.
I never knew that.
Yeah, way back when. This is 10 years ago, but that's the way that used to work. So you get a higher ranking above someone else if you had it.
I had no idea.
No kidding.
Did you know that?
AAA, Blog Talk TV.
Exactly.
Look
Right,
at
it's catchy.
So everybody wants to rank high, but how worried should bloggers be about mastering SEO? Because there's a lot that we've got to consider when we're writing our posts and building our blog.
That's a great question. It's a question I get almost every single day now. SEO used to be really technical, right? You know, I always ask bloggers and stuff, what do you think an SEO person looks like? And I always get, well, they got a pocket protector, they look like a nerd or whatever the case may be, those big horn-rimmed glasses. But, you know, in reality, SEO is about creating amazing, rich content. So when bloggers sit down and try to get all, you know, tech behind the scenes and let's adjust this and adjust that, there are some important components to that. But I think at the end of the day, true SEO and SEO that works and stuff that Google loves is natural and it's organic and it's not forced. You know,
So if we go about our business, writing great content, it should take care of itself?
Absolutely, but there's a couple things. You've obviously got to make sure it gets shared. You've got to make sure that you're focused on key phrases, etc. And key phrases that people actually do indeed search for, not what you think they search for. So there is a mindset that you have to get into, and that's, you know, how can I write this content that's going to serve my audience in the best way possible?
So do you have an example of how to find out or how to think about how would somebody search for this particular story that I'm writing?
I think it really comes down to asking some of your fans, asking some of your fan base. You can even use social media to ask some of your, you know, how would you search for X, Y, and Z? You know, because really at the end of the day, Google's paying attention to all of those signals that, you know, your desired audience are using to search. So it's not really rocket surgery, right? But it's a matter of knowing what your audience wants. And if you don't know the answer to that, that's something you definitely have to figure out.
So what about writing the content itself? You know, is there a specific length that we should consider to make that content valuable to Google and search engines? Are there other things that we can do to post to make the search engines happy?
Absolutely. So, you know, Google keeps evolving, and they evolve for a very specific reason. SEO companies have learned how to trick or game Google in order to get higher results. Well, Google's mission is always it always has to come back to the user. So whatever's going on or whatever's happening on your website, if it's not user-centric, then Google doesn't have as much time for it, right? So to optimize a blog, I say write it naturally first, and then go back and look for opportunities where you could have sprinkled in maybe some keywords. You don't want to go crazy because Google will nail you on that too. So if you use the word mortgage, for example, 22 times, then Google starts looking at that content like this is not natural, right? So It all comes down to just being yourself, being natural about it,
Right.
and then you can go in and sprinkle in some keywords and where it fits and where it makes sense.
Does Google look for a specific length post? Like if you do just a very small caption with a video, that's not real great for Google, right?
No, in fact, Google will actually penalize some sites where it deems it thin content. Because one of the ways to get traction in Google is to have a lot of content, but if you're just writing posts that are 24 words, Google's not seeing much love in that, right?
Right.
And it doesn't look like you're feeding your audience. And while the video is great, you still need to kind of wrap the words around the video as well. So that I didn't answer your question. The ideal post, 350 words to 600 words. We don't want to be writing War and Peace, right? But we certainly don't want to be just giving Google 2 paragraphs.
So it's a good exercise to push ourselves to write 350 to 600.
Well, put yourself in your user's shoes. How much time do you have to read?
That's true.
3,000 words.
Yeah.
You don't, because you're going to go on to the next, and Google knows that. But with that type of scenario, you have at least enough room to get your words out, use bullet points, make it nice and clean, and keep them coming back.
Now, what about, we talk about Google, but Bing and Yahoo and other search engines, are the strategies the same, or do we need to change it for different ones? How do we negotiate that?
That's a great question. Some of the meta tags that we use, and this is the geek stuff behind the scenes, Google doesn't pay attention to the meta name keywords at all, because people used to game that and fill it with 90,000 keywords.
Yeah.
So I mean the meta name being the keywords behind the content.
Right, it's in the code, and you'd
Right.
see it if you had like Yoast or something on your blog platform where it asks for the keywords.
One of the plugins, Yoast.
Yeah, exactly. So Google doesn't pay any attention to that, but Bing pays a little bit of attention to that, as does Yahoo. So we'll have clients look at our stuff and say, why didn't you put keywords in there? So best practice, now we have to put them in there, but we know that Google doesn't pay any attention to it, but sometimes Yahoo does and Bing does as well.
So we can tell, obviously, you're like ridiculously smart with Google, but you're also pretty darn passionate. I mean, I'm not that passionate about my analytics unless they're really, really great. I mean, how did you develop this? I mean, how did you get into this?
I was a writer, and when I graduated college, I set out on a writing career, and I just love words. And everything, if you think about it, on the internet and with search is all about words and how to use them. So use your words, right? But I love everything about this. It's amazing to me to watch a company go from zero to hero, because we created a really sound content strategy for them, and Google loved it.
Which develops into the Contentinator.
Right.
So tell us about that.
So
Contentinator?
I have this alter ego of being a little bit more on the smart alecky side, right?
It's hilarious.
And I love superheroes. My company on Target deals with a lot of really kind of more conservative companies and stuff. As in Target grew, every new client I got, I have to go out and hire more writers. Well, if you put yourself in my pocketbook, that gets really expensive, right? So thanks to Bess, I got to speak at a lot of events with bloggers, and I collected a whole bunch of outstanding bloggers, and now they write for my other company, the Contentators. So whenever I have a new client, I can just go source content from an existing blogger that I know is amazing.
But so we'll show some screenshots of the site, but the marketing of it is just genius with the superhero. I mean, it's great.
Well, the whole name, thank you very much.
Is that you dressed up?
It is not, and it never will be.
I need to pull this site up.
But I actually have an employee that wears a Captain Content outfit. Captain Content is really a symbol of all things that are good and powerful with content, right?
It's very funny.
One of my pet peeves is I see a lot of companies going out and buying content from overseas. God love them over there. Everybody's got to make a living, but you can't be giving your users nonsense, right? So I can read those blogs in a second and tell they weren't written by that company, or they weren't written in the United States.
Right.
So if you're out to be amazing and you're out to be a remarkable company, why settle for content that's subpar? Your users deserve the best. Your customers deserve the best, so the Contentators delivers the best. So all of our content is homegrown. So
love it.
Excellent.
Red,
Love
white,
it.
and blue.
Well, Tom, we'll be right back to have a little bit more with you, so we're going to take a quick break.
So today is the very first Podcast Florida, dedicated to podcasters, whether you're just starting out or looking to sort of increase what you're doing in the podcasting space. I'm Lou Mangello, together with Jared Easley. We put this conference together and are super, super excited.
Hi, this is Sean Blackman with Kalo Services, and I'm here at the Podcast Florida Conference to learn how to become a better storyteller.
I'm from Outhouse Games. I do the music and sound effects, but I've also fallen into the social media side. So I'm looking for a creative outlet to market in a different way, a less in-your-face, more creative way to get our name out there.
I think you're going to learn some of the technical things to do, some of the pitfalls to avoid, and I also think you're going to learn how to take things really to the next level, whether it's in terms of monetizing, production, whatever it may be, and maybe helping to turn your business or your brand into, hopefully, your profession.